The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
Started with the Russia witch hunt, right? Then the Inspector General's shocking report proved that the Obama FBI obtained secret warrants to spy on my campaign based on a phony foreign dossier of debunked smears paid for by crooked Hillary Clinton and the DNC. Right? The FBI failed to disclose the nature of the political hit job to the FISA court. They hid it, they deceived it, and they lied. The dossier was written by a discredited foreign agent who, quote, desperate that Donald Trump not get elected and was passionate about him not being the United States president. What's this? Folks, they spied on our campaign, okay? They spied. Never happened before in the history of our country. And we're really wise to it. We're wise to it. The Inspector General found that the FBI's spying application contained 17 errors and omissions commonly known as lies and deceit. When the FBI, and you have great people in the FBI, but not in leadership. You have not good people in leadership you haven't had. When the FBI uncovered evidence showing that we did absolutely nothing wrong, which was right at the beginning, they hid that exonerating. You know that. They hid it. They hid it so nobody could see it, so they could keep this hoax going on for 2 years.
Okay, none of that is true. Just thought I would mention that. No one spied on the Trump campaign. There was one FISA warrant for surveillance. That was against Carter Page. And that FISA warrant wasn't even applied for until after Carter Page left the Trump campaign. There. How hard is that, everybody? How difficult is that to wrap your brain around? There were lawyers, low-level lawyers, who were doing various parts of the third renewal of the Carter Page FISA surveillance warrant with the secret court, which, in my opinion, should not exist. America does not have secret courts. So that's, by the way, where Jonathan Turley and I became friends. You know, you hear me say Jonathan Turley is a friend of the show, and he is. Because Jonathan Turley and I both agree that there should not be secret courts in the United States of America, period, end of story. Okay? But there is. And it's horrible. But a low-level lawyer inside the Justice Department made an application for the third renewal of a surveillance warrant, the one that was issued on anybody that had anything to do with the Trump campaign in January of 2017, after Trump was president of the United States. And that particular application had an omission about something, and we don't know what it was, that said Carter Page should not be issued. There should not be continuing surveillance on Carter Page. I have no idea what he left out. It was a guy. He's been referred for a criminal prosecution for doing such a bad job on the third renewal. But the timeline for the crazy people doesn't work. Carter Page left the Trump campaign in September of 2016. The first FISA application for surveillance on Carter Page, by the way, was in 2014. Okay, they had looked into Carter Page previously, the FBI did. That said, the first warrant for surveillance of Carter Page post-Trump campaign was October 21st, 2016. Carter Page left the Trump campaign in September of 2016. So nobody in the Trump campaign was surveilled. That's just a fact. So here's Lindsey Graham sounding like he's got an aha moment, But I want you to listen to the date. The date. The date Lindsey Graham is so, his blood is boiling. His hair is on fire. He's just beside himself with this terrible, terrible, law breaking that's going on. The date he's referring to by his own mouth is January of 2017. Trump's already president. Carter Page, there is no Trump campaign, number one. Number two, Carter Page is long gone. Okay?
What I want you to know is that in January 2017, the whole foundation for surveilling Carter Page collapses. Exculpatory information is ignored. They lie to the court about what the interview was all about. Is that a fair summary so far about the January 2017?
They certainly misled. It was misleading to the court.
Okay, fair enough. And in January, about 6 months later, when they find more information that could be helpful to Mr. Page, they lie about it. Do you feel like Mr. Page was treated fairly by the Department of Justice and the FBI?
I don't think the Department of Justice fairly treated these FISAs, and he was on the receiving end of the.
Okay, that's bad. It's very bad. And the person that did that is going to be in a lot of trouble. However, that is not the Trump campaign. There was only one FISA warrant ever issued for surveillance. It was against Carter Page, and it wasn't when Carter Page was part of the Trump campaign. It was after he left. So that means Bill Barr is a freaking liar. That means that everybody that is so outraged right now about the bad application for the third renewal of Carter Page surveillance warrant is they're faux outraged, is what I'm saying. They're faux outraged. If you really wanted to, talk about it, you got to go back to 2002 when all these warrants were applied for against Clinton. And they lied repeatedly to the FISA court, which is why we were talking about a FISA court because of George W. Bush. And I don't think there ought to be a secret court in this country. I just don't see how this country can support a secret court. But here's Dick Durbin today showing you that the applications to FISA courts have been let's say, not properly filed many, many, many times.
I've been joining Senator Leahy and Senator Lee for years talking about this FISA court.
Yeah.
And we now have an ample record here in this case and in a lot of others. 2002, the FISA court identified more than 75 cases in which it was misled by the FBI. Internal FBI review in 2006, dozens of inaccuracies provided to the FISA court. The list goes on and on. So let's have a fulsome conversation after this about the future of the FISA court and the representations that are made to it. Let me try, if I can, Mr. Horowitz, thank you and your team for being here, to go through a few points. The chairman gave an uncharacteristic, flowery, heated opening that went on for some 40 minutes.
Oh, my God.
And produced a lengthy record of emails from Lisa Page and Peter Strzok, which repeatedly demonstrated statements of hostility toward candidate Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. He went on to say these were the people in charge. When I read your summary of your findings, you didn't find either of them to be in charge, did you?
On this investigation, we did not.
Okay. When it comes to expletives, you also, on page 339 of your report, found some agents at the FBI who had an exactly opposite political viewpoint. Correct. And were very positive toward candidate Trump and very open in their use of expletives to demonstrate that.
Yeah. And those individuals, to be clear, were not part of the Crossfire Hurricane team, but were in a different field office interacting with the Crossfire Hurricane team.
And I hope we can all concede the point. We don't believe anyone in this capacity, this delicate capacity with life-changing decision-making every single day should be so politically biased as to call into question their values and their character.
That's correct, and I made this point last year when this issue came up. Individuals at the Justice Department and the FBI are allowed to have their political views.